Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the December session of the Disabilities and Conditions of Aging Network. For anybody who is new, we are a network of both organizations and individuals that are living and working within the disability community. The goal behind this network was to create a space where we could all come together on a regular basis and simply talk about what's going on in our different parts of that community and where we can support one another in our work, where we can better improve the services that we are providing to other people with disabilities, and just simply being able to be a stronger community. And that's something that I think, especially without getting into politics after the last election, we need to um, enhance our community even more so that we can make certain to advocate and advance the human rights of people with disabilities and make certain that is recognized. I saw something recently. A friend of mine sent me a message asking how he should respond to his son who had sent him a Bible verse and stated that Jesus had done something nice for his people, for his dad's people, being people with disabilities. Um, and and I made it a point to because he wanted to see whether he should say thank you for recognizing people with disabilities as a people, or if he should respond in some other way in regards to recognizing that even that Bible verse doesn't necessarily um, suggest an actual disability, and that it's important to understand that disabilities are not results of sins. And and I told him that I thought that he should do both, but that he should also make it a point to educate his son about the fact that people with disabilities are actually everybody, and that we are everybody's people, because at any moment anybody can acquire a disability, whether that is through birth or through conditions of aging or trauma, and or all sorts of other things that I'm probably not thinking of. So anybody who is new, what we do is we basically just go around and talk about what's going on. If somebody has something pressing that they want to be sure that they share before they have to go, please, if I don't see a note in the chat, please just speak up and say that you need to go next, because I just kind of pick who's going next based on what's on the screen. And with that, if anybody doesn't know, I'm Jeremy Warner with Walking Spirit. That is my organization. I provide consulting, disability, equity, and or diversity, equity, inclusion from a disability lens. So call that accessible DEI, and belonging consultation, which is the ultimate goal, is everybody feeling a sense of belonging. And I also provide public speaking services, ADA. I'm part of the ADA Trainer Leadership Network, and also do quality of life, adaptability, and advocacy coaching for anybody with a disability. And that goal really is to help anybody who is starting down this road have a slightly easier adjustment than I had by trying to connect them with all of you, or the right people within this group, so that they can get the services that they need. And so that's me, my only major update. So folks know what I'm currently working on and will be focusing on over the next several months. I have been retained by Everybody Counts Center for Independent Living up in Northwest Indiana to help them coordinate two events. The primary one that we are focusing on, they were given some money by the federal government to quote, train up people in Indiana. And so they've asked me to help coordinate um, a conference, or an unconference, if you will, that won't feel like a conference or a traditional conference, but specifically about what it means to be a person with a disability, what our history is, the advocacy that went into getting us those rights, the advocacy that needs to continue to happen, um, to work towards, again, growing a stronger community within our state of people with disabilities, and really to start training up that next generation of leaders within this community. So I will be reaching out to many folks over the next several months for help identifying those folks. They are wanting to pay for a group of 50 people to come to Indianapolis and to attend this conference and make it as cost efficient as possible, so that people aren't having to spend their own money for that. So, would love if anybody has recommendations on how we can find those folks who need to learn those things, who don't know yet, about this community. And honestly, I'm still just learning a lot of those things. Understanding who Justin Dart is, his message that each one of us could be a leader, and that doesn't mean leading people, but being a leader in the example that we set for people with disabilities. And so yeah, with that I'm focusing on that. And then they've also asked me to put together a 35th anniversary celebration for the ADA, which will be July 26th. And we're focusing on the conference first. What that celebration will look like will depend probably on how successful we are on getting the conference off the ground and finding the people that we need for that. So again, over the next several months, if anybody has ideas on how and where I can find those folks, if people have folks within their organizations who they look at and they think, hey, this is a person who needs to be a leader within our community, either connect them with me or let me know how to reach them. So that said, I am going to hand it off. And first, I'm going to ask Carly, do you want to go first or do you want to wait towards the middle? I can't hear you. It doesn't say that you're muted, but I hear nothing. So folks know Carly has an important update about the Medicaid waiver restructure and certain things that will impact trigger benefit reductions and stuff, which I haven't gotten to read yet. Oh yeah, put things in the chat as well. So I do send out the chat to folks. So if you want to put in to the chat your name, contact information, website info, any important links, announcements, things like that, please feel free to use it that way. Carly, any luck? Hmm. Do you want to go out and come back in? That tends to be the thing that fixes it. So, and then I tell you what, while we're waiting on her to get back in, Kendall, you were first on today, so do you want to jump in, tell us what's going on your end?
Um, we're at that year-end phase. I guess with us, I'm in employment, so I do all the employment announcements. So um, our news team, which is our workforce services team, has ramped up its uh, hiring at Lilly, and we only have, I think, 4 positions left right now. So everybody else would go on a waiting list for our crew that is working at
Hello, can
Lilly.
you hear me?
We can hear you now, Carly. Thank you. You're good.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good.
Ah, you're fine. You're more important than I am anyway.
Not at all. Not even a little bit.
So, for those of you that don't know, our news crews are crews that work in various businesses that are not waiver funded, or it's a purely contracted. So we can serve people that do not have waivers and do not have VR dollars associated. So, but it is a training program to help them move through this employment to either onboarding within some of the companies that work at Lilly or externally. But so it is a training program, but it is not funded. It's just purely employed. So it's very exciting that has ramped up substantially. Looking to move that to other businesses as well. Now that Lilly's bigger, but Lilly will also expand. That's our big push right now. So, Carly, I think it's yours.
I am so sorry, everyone.
Not
For
at
some
all.
reason, I think last week they decided to do a firewall update, and now my Zoom is apparently not working properly. So it's a morning. So thank you all for your patience. And don't kill me, because I'll be perfectly honest, I do not have good news to share. So right now, one of the biggest things I want to do is make sure that certain things are on people's radar to look out for, and so that we can prepare for all of that. One of them is that Indiana apparently has a trigger law when it comes to HIP. When Indiana agreed to do Medicaid expansion, in that legislation, they put in a trigger law that if federal funding for Medicaid expansion ever dropped below 90%, HIP goes away. Currently, we are at 90% federal funding. There is a better than decent chance that it could potentially drop below that. Now, functionally, what would that actually look like, and what kind of timeline would that take? I can't answer that yet, because of course they would have to then, provide all sorts of notices and all of that. But HIP is definitely in danger of being on the chopping block. And because it is a trigger law, the Indiana General Assembly does not actually have to do anything at all. It will automatically happen. That's the first part. Second part is that I think we all know that Medicaid is under threat at both the state and federal level. There are discussions going on at the state level, right now, even about the budget and Medicaid funding and all of that. I know that we are talking with a lot of legislators trying to protect Medicaid funding and show the value of Medicaid. And so one way we are doing that is by collecting people's stories about what the positive things Medicaid does for their life. So we've started this campaign because of Medicaid. I can, fill in the blank there. And so we are collecting stories, and you can go to our website, which is arcind.org. And I can't really talk and type at the same time. But we are collecting both written stories and video stories, everything from, because of Medicaid, my child was able to get the therapies they needed. And so now they're, playing baseball and, doing all the things regular kids do, or because of my child's Medicaid waiver, they got the supports that they're able to work. They're able to, live their life, whatever the case may be. We want to show that the good side of Medicaid and how essential it is to people's lives, because the reality is, outside of our world, people don't get it, and they don't really understand what all Medicaid does. They think of it exclusively as health insurance for low-income individuals. They don't think about Medicaid as the funder for First Steps. They don't think about it as waivers. They don't think about it as the way to keep people out of nursing homes. And, the irony is, people think, oh, there are programs for that. Yes, there are. They're paid for by Medicaid. And that's the disconnect there. So if you know people who would like to share their stories, and again, we're trying to seek those positive stories about, what Medicaid really does for people, we would appreciate that, because we're using those stories to then talk with our state legislature, but then we can also use those with our congressional folks as well, to try to protect Medicaid at both levels. Which brings me to my third thing. So every month we do a webinar called Ask the ARC, and it's on all sorts of different topics. in January, Kim Dodson, who is our CEO, will actually be talking about the upcoming legislative session, our efforts to protect Medicaid, and some of the other legislation that is being introduced. This will be January 9th, so it'll be on technically day 2 of session. So session will have already started by then. It's always the second Thursday of every month at 6 o'clock. If you have ever been to any of our Ask the ARC webinars, you are already registered, so you just have to join us. If you're not, you can register through our events page on the ARC website. So that way you can find out what all's going on at the legislature and what the session is going to look like.
Thank you very much.
Sorry that I am Debbie Downer today.
No,
but it's, I was just talking to somebody, and I'm like, he's like, we need to protect Medicaid. I'm like, that is what is keeping me up at night right now, is trying to stay on top of all of this, figure out how to get the information out. Right now, we're not doing a huge push just because it is less than 10 days before Christmas. Nobody's listening.
right.
So January 2nd, we will be all back in. There, I will also share, and I didn't tell you this because I didn't know it at the time. The state is going to, FSSA is going to be submitting amendments for the health and wellness TBI and pathways waivers right around Christmas / the beginning of the year, that they will put out for public comment. I don't know what those look like yet. I have not seen those yet. My guess is part of it is also just kind of cleanup from earlier this year and fixing some problems that may have crept through the first time. And then they will be putting out new plans for the family support and CIH waivers about a month later for public comment. So that is all on the way as well.
Hey, question, I guess, in regards to getting that word out about
Sure.
Those stories, what Medicaid does.
Mm-hmm.
Is the ARC putting out like social media posts that we can simply snag and share?
Yes.
And get out that way? Okay.
Yes, I'm not the person to do that. Kat Chappelle is the one who does that for us, because to maintain my sanity, I am not on social media. So, but yeah, that's how we're getting the word out.
So where would we just need to be connected over Facebook? Because I don't know that I'm connected to that.
Okay. You know what? I will totally cheat. I will just introduce you and Kat by email,
okay,
so that you can ask her. I will also say that we also do during the legislative session, we do a legislative update once a week, normally on Friday afternoons, where we give updates on all of the bills that we are tracking that impact the disability community. Now, granted, our focus is IDD, but there's some that are broader than that. And so, we'll be tracking things on like, education for students with disabilities. So a lot of those things, not necessarily all of the aging issues, not necessarily, not always things that deal with all mental health. But that's one way to keep up as well with the legislature. And like I said, it's only published once a week, so it's not going to clog up your inbox either.
Fantastic. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Any questions from folks?
I have a quick question. I was just curious if there's any information on the web or anywhere where I can learn more about this Medicaid situation that you just mentioned, Carly.
Sure. So, with the HIP trigger law, there have been some articles recently, and so I'll find the links to those and put those in the chat. It's probably, I know that we would have been putting it on our social media through Twitter and Instagram and all of those things. Again, I'm not on that, so I don't know how that all works. But yeah, Carlos, let me find those things and get them to you. Okay.
Great. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
But And Carly, I can snag the while the next person's talking, I can snag the links that you sent me in the email and get them into the chat. So I can put them in there that way as well. Um, so Carlos, since you asked a question, I'm going to call on you next. You're also new, so please introduce yourself to the group and don't feel like you have to come up with anything major, but just gonna share with us what you have going on. I know you have at least one, new big achievement that we just launched. So I'll let you
Yeah,
share.
thank you so much, Jeremy. Hi, everyone. I'm Carlos Taylor. I'm the program manager of the Gregory S. Furrybox Center at Eskenazi Health, where we facilitate paid internship experiences for college students with physical disabilities. Excited certainly to announce our newest initiative with Eskenazi Health is so as you all may know, a lot of organizations have employee resource groups. Um, and at Eskenazi Health, we have a handful of employee resource groups, but we just had our first official meeting with our first disability ERG last week. So, very excited to get that off the ground. And thank you, Jeremy, for all of your assistance with that as well.
It was a pleasure.
So we're looking forward to making some impactful, um, making an impact, both at Eskenazi Health and in the community. So stay tuned for future appearances or what have you, where we may have a booth or something at an event. So more information to come. But as far as the Ferry Box Center goes, we focus on summer internships for college students with physical disabilities. These are paid internship experiences in fields related to what students are majoring in. We provide um, housing and transportation assistance as we recruit students from all over the state of Indiana and from schools in our surrounding states as well. So that's a bit of a summary of the Ferry Box Center and what we're up to.
Very good. Thank you so much. And yeah, with the launch of the new employee resource group, which did you share the name Connectability? Um,
I did not. Thank you, Jeremy. Yeah, Connectability is the name of our new group. Again, it's early days, but we're really excited to get it launched and off the ground.
Yes. And we thought it was important to connect that employee resource group to this community because I believe over the next year there might, and not just next year, the future, there might be some tremendous partnership opportunities. So
Absolutely.
thank you, Carlos, for being here. I saw Cassandra Smoke, who is your vice chair, on here briefly, but it looks like she had to go. So please let her know that it was nice to see her pop in.
Yeah, certainly will.
I will call on Sonia Eisenhart from Accessibility if she can unmute.
There we go. My mouse was not cooperating with me. Those little critters. Anyway, um, accessibility is winding down for the year, and we are going to be, our offices will be closed during the holiday season. So we're going to have limited hours up until Christmas, close Christmas Day through January the 2nd. So, like most every other agency. Um, and really, there's not a whole lot more to report than that. And I know that we will be hitting the ground running at the first of the year. So that's about all I have.
Thank you, Sonia. Any more any more developments or outcomes from the fundraising event that you guys held in October?
There is, yes, because it was a success. there is going to be more opportunities to do some more fundraising, um, and the connections, just my personal connections, is like through the roof. So I'm excited about that. It's mainly about housing. So there's nothing that I can really report on now, except that those connections are hopefully will lead to some pretty good outcomes. So we'll see.
Thank you very much. All right. Jill Edwards, would you like to jump in?
Sure. Um, I am with the Indianapolis Public Library, as some of you know, and I set up programs for adults throughout the library system. And that comes out in a couple of ways. One is that I'm in charge of our seed library, which is gearing up for our packing. So in particular for folks who are looking for a place to feel valuable and valued. That's a good way, especially in the winter, to connect with other people as well, to participate in that. There's not a lot of skill needed, and we actually do a lot of adapting for folks with a variety of abilities. I've had folks who are visually impaired, physically challenged, all kinds of ways, really engaging with other folks and feeling their place in the community. And I think that's super important right now. So I just want to mention that, and I can put in the chat a link to where people can learn more and sign up for that. The other chunk that I wanted to share is, you've heard me mention this a couple of times maybe, but I've been really focused on getting a program set up for caregivers. So people who support people in whatever capacity. And so starting January 8th, it'll be every other Wednesday at the Beech Grove Library. And so for an hour, there will be chair yoga for caregivers and anyone, but that's definitely the focus of providing them some of that support. And then simultaneously, we will have a social hour for folks who need socialization and want that. Whether it's that their caregiver is in the other room or whether they're just any kind of a person, and being able to rub shoulders with each other. And so again, super important. And I'll put a link to that information, but it'll be every other Wednesday at 11 at the Beech Grove Library. And hopefully that'll make it accessible to folks down on the South Side who are further from places that have things like that, or memory cafes and whatnot. And also there's a bus stop literally right in front of the building. So if they use public transit, that'll be a way to get there. So.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, please put
Awesome.
links on there, and also so everybody knows, while there are today maybe 9 folks on here, um, sometimes there's more, sometimes there's less, but in terms of the network that I communicate out to, there are about 140 different organizations that are receiving information about this network. And I know Carly at times has sent me things to send out to that group. And sometimes I get back emails saying, hey, please take me off your list. Other times, people are very, very appreciative of getting the information, even if they're not necessarily able to join us on a monthly basis. So if you have things that you want me to send out to those folks, please feel free to email that to me. I try not to hit everybody up too much throughout the month, but yeah, please let me know if you have things that you want me to share and get out there. And I'm sorry I didn't ask if anybody had any questions for Sonia. Same thing. Anybody have any questions for Jill or Sonia or Kendall? Because I don't think I threw that offer out there either. All right. If not, then Maggie Harrington, would you like to fill everybody in about your program? Because I think there's some folks here who could maybe benefit from that.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. I'm probably what's standing between all of you and your next meeting, so I will try not to be fast or not to take too long.
We've
I
got plenty
wondered
of
if I
time.
can share share my screen. I'm going to send a request to see if I can share my screen.
Yes. Yeah, you have plenty of time, Maggie. So,
All right. And if I can't, if this doesn't work, it's no big deal. But okay. Can you guys see that? No,
not
not
seeing
yet.
anything yet.
All right.
That's weird. I did approve the share, right? Yes. There we go.
Okay. I just thought this might help. Just as I'm talking, so everybody can kind of see. I got connected to Jeremy through Kristen Ludiker Siebert with the Youth and Family Alliance here in Hamilton County, and was able to visit with him a few weeks ago about a program that I help coordinate here. I am the coordinator here in Hamilton County for a program called A Chance to Serve, and it's a youth leadership program. Um, and so I've got a little visual here, but it's for high school freshmen here in Hamilton County. And we have 60 students participate in that program every year. Each participating high school gets to choose 10 students to participate. So when you're thinking about a school the size of, Noblesville or Hamilton Southeastern, to get selected for the program is exciting for those youth to participate. Um, but it's really a 2-year program for these young leaders. What kind of sets it apart from a lot of the other programs is it's not. They don't just come together on a Saturday and spend the day together and work on a little group project, and then that's the end of it. When these youth get selected for this program, they're actually coming on board for 2 years. We spend a semester. Over the course of a semester, we meet with them 5 times. So they're excused from school essentially for 5 field trips to meet with us. And they undergo some training on a lot of different skills that Purdue Extension feels like we feel like are important to be good leaders. We learn a little bit about our personality traits and how that impacts how we work with other people and how we think and how we work with groups. We talk about community and what that means. You're not just your school community or your religious community, but also like your actual physical community. We talk with them a little bit about land use and how do we figure out where the gas station goes and where the grocery store goes and where the housing additions go and where the schools go. And so really just spending time with these youth, creating some awareness, helping them develop their leadership skills and understand how they can give back and be a part of their community as teenagers, that they don't have to wait until they're out of college and grown-ups before they can be participating. And the reason that I'm here today to chat with all of you briefly is because the next step for these youth after they are go through these training sessions with us, with the Purdue Extension staff, is that we place them on a local board or community organization for a year. And they serve for at least a year or longer if it works out for them and for the boards that participate. But they serve on that board as an active, participating, voting member. They attend meetings as much as they can, as much as anybody can. Any special events they help with. Some of our organizations have specific things that they ask the youth to help with. It just really varies across the board. But that's the piece that brings me here with you today, is to kind of talk a little bit about to see if there would be some connectivity between the ACTS Youth Program and some of the boards and organizations that you represent. Because we work with these students, they have a great perspective. They are willing to share their voice, their thoughts. And so we are always looking for new organizations to partner with to place these youth on these community organizations after they finish the ACTS training piece. And Jeremy thought that there might be some potential here with some of your organizations if you're looking for youth input, looking to hear what young people are thinking, what their perceptions are, how to reach young people, that this might be a partnership that would have a positive impact on your organization. So that's why I'm here today. Here's kind of, I got twisted on my slides, but here's kind of the one that talks about that. Once they finish this training program that we do with them, our staff, then we are looking for local organizations to place them with. And so that's why I'm here today, just to see if you can mull it over, and get back to me. This is a list of community partners that we already work with. We have, wonderful connections, of course, in each of the schools that we participate with, but a lot of community organizations as well that take ACTS Youth on their boards. And but as I said, every year, 60 new students looking for a home, looking for a board to serve with that sparks their interest or their passion in some way. So Purdue Extension is always looking for new organizations. Just here's some fun pictures of the youth doing some of our fun activities. So here's our contact information. So again, my name is Maggie. I am the coordinator for this program here with Purdue Extension in Hamilton County, along with all the other extension educators that we have here in our office, and their names are there as well. But if you've got specific questions about the program, either here while I'm still on the call or later, I'm probably your gal. I'm going to get back to you a little faster probably than the educators. So I wanted to include my information there as well. I will go ahead and stop that share.
Thanks. Did you put your information in the chat?
I didn't, but I sure can. Yeah.
Please do that. So anybody have questions for Maggie? After we spoke, I felt like some of you might have, since some of your organizations reach out or do work in Hamilton County as well as Marion, and since I believe most of you have boards, that some of you might be interested in the opportunity to know about this, because I know connecting with youth with disabilities has been a challenge for a lot of folks. So, and getting that voice in leadership. So, question?
So Jeremy?
Yeah.
Hi, this is Sonia. It might be this sounds very interesting, and I would like to take this back to accessibility and see if we can maybe make a connection there. I think that would be a good connection. So start the talks.
Very good. Yes, and that I do want to recognize that not necessarily everybody who's on here is able to say, yes, we want somebody on our board right now. But yeah, I thought it was an opportunity that could be beneficial for everybody. So anybody else got any questions or thoughts or comments?
I did put my contact info in the chat. So if you need some time to mull it over, or if I went too fast and you're like, wait, what? I'm happy to share. I've got all kinds of documents on the program. Just send me an email, and I'm happy to share those if you want to learn more. I'm not looking to put anyone on the spot today.
Thank you. No, that's fine. And again, this will also get sent out to lots of folks, and the video from today will be posted on walkingspirit.org so that people can view it that way. I don't know if anybody does. I never look to see, but so Tim, well, if nobody else has any questions at this point for Maggie or any comments, then Tim Vermand, I think you are last on the list to fill us in on what's going on with your part of the disability community.
Well, I'm officially here on behalf of the United Methodist Church Disability Committee. And what I've been thinking about has very little to do with that.
That's fine.
Um, I am a polio survivor and I am livid at what's going on lately. This talk about rescinding the vaccine and all that does not make me happy. I don't want to see anyone go through what I've gone through. Uh, so maybe I just better stop there.
Well, I think you're among friends, and that's absolutely understandable. And Tim, can you talk for a minute about post-polio syndrome? And I would assume that if the vaccine were rescinded, then we would have a lot more folks experiencing that as well.
Yes, post polio syndrome. It's not known if it's a return of the virus or late effects of a lifetime of trying to accommodate the virus. I tend to think it's the latter. Uh, I do not have the reference right offhand, but I can look it up and send you. There is a central exchange for information on this, a newsletter out of Pennsylvania. When you get to be about 40, you start having weird side effects. For me, it was a surgery on my back from an injury, and the muscles wouldn't reshape in my back. So I ended up not being able to walk and having a lot of trouble regaining any motion from the therapy. It has continued since then. In fact, right now, I am dealing with, because I had this, I apparently am susceptible to a condition in the wrist known as Kienbach's disease, which effectively shattered my wrist bone. That's why I was in the rehab facility. I spent 2 months in rehab after 2 weeks in the hospital because there is no effective replacement joint. They had to fuse my wrist and put some hardware in. And that's been late July. I'm still in therapy to regain the full use of my hand.
So,
Oh.
how is that going?
Therapist thinks it's going well, but now I have to go to the hospital. I ran out of in-home care time.
Oh, okay. That's not wait, you don't have to be admitted. That's just you have to go to the hospital for your
Yeah,
therapy.
it's outpatient. I
Okay.
have to go over to St. Vincent's PT building.
Okay.
But that means either somebody takes me or I get a ride on paratransit, and I better not say much more about that or I'll get in trouble too.
You you will not get in trouble. I mean, I think it's important for us to understand what the experience is of folks who are trying to utilize those resources to get to appointments. And I
Okay,
know you have to know like days in advance to schedule that.
I have to schedule it 4 days in advance. They give you an hour, half hour, or hour long window that they'll pick you up in. You never know when they're going to leave you there. I've been anywhere from 20 minutes early to 2 hours late to appointments. And that's just getting there. Getting home is another matter.
Right.
I could spend the whole day going over there for a 1 hour appointment.
And so I know I don't know whether it was this year or last year. I know that we talked at one point, and I tried to reach out to Indigo's advisory council to see if we could get somebody to come on. Kendall, weren't you connected with that in some way? Or
Yes.
yes, okay.
Yeah. So strongly recommend that anybody that has things that they want to address, there is the MAC, the Mobile Mobility Advisory Committee that meets regularly, and we'll be happy to invite you as a member. Small interview process, which we'll be doing tomorrow night, but we are seeking members. It is an open meeting. If you're not a member, you can just log in. Um, it's on the Open Door, or it's on the Indigo website. Look for Mobility Advisory Committee. The more opinions we have that are there, the more power we have with Indigo to make things better.
Yeah. They did ask me if I wanted to join this week, but with everything going on with my therapy, I felt I didn't have the time.
Okay. So I'll count you as a no for the interview then. All right.
Yeah. I did try to attend meetings online, but I kept getting an error when I used the link that was on the website.
Okay.
I will have to bring that up. Yeah, I don't have the technical ability to fix that, but I can share it.
Okay.
But if you are, you can email me directly, and I will do what I can to get you linked in a different way somehow. We want your opinion.
Yes, I had asked about being on the board, but with everything going on otherwise, I just don't have the time right now.
Maybe in spring.
Yeah, maybe in spring.
All right.
And it's important to recognize. I keep getting asked to serve on different boards, and I've finally had to say that I'm at capacity, and I know that if I said yes, I would not do as good a job as they need. So yeah, it's an important thing. So Kendall, thank you. I didn't mean to put you on the spot right there.
No problem. I was going to log on.
Yep. And I do see that some other folks are needing to get going. Does anybody have any last minute stuff that they want to add before the holidays? Happy holidays to everyone.
I do have a quick note that I just thought, I don't know, I didn't think of this earlier, but for all y'all and everybody that you work with too, we've been we're trying to make all of our programs at the library more accessible. And one piece of that is that every juvenile program, every program for someone under 18 has at least one session that will have an ASL interpreter on site.
Oh, good.
Yay.
And anytime that someone has a desire, they can reach out. It takes a few weeks to get that stuff set up, so reach out ahead of time. But we're trying to make sure that everything is at least some kind of accessible at some point. So
Wonderful. Thank you. That's great to hear. And, if I can be of any support with that, please reach out. So, all right. Anybody else got anything? Or I give you 5 minutes back in your day or six, and we see each other in January. I will probably move us back to that fourth Thursday of the month cycle in January, unless anybody wants to throw out a better option. But that's probably what we're going to shoot for. So, okay. Happy holidays, everybody. I will see you in January. Please send social media stuff that we can post it. Tim, in regards to the vaccine, anything that you see about that, please send that out so that we can share that with people. and Carly, I will connect with you to connect with the ARC social media stuff so that we can push that out better as well. So thank you all. Be well. See you in January. Happy New Year. You guys just hanging out?
I wanted to catch up with you.
Yeah, that's
If
fine.
you've got a minute.
I do. Let me stop the recording